guys, it is Ingrid here. New month, new video. Oh, thank you. Just take off my makeup, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, I don't need that. So if you hear any noises throughout this video, it's probably my dogs, because they're very attention seeking. Isn't that right, Emmy? But it's a new month, and so a new round of the Neverland TBR game. And this time we're going to do things a little bit different. So we're still going to play the game like I've done all the other times. If you don't know what the game is all about, I'll have the playlist in the description. In the January one, I went through the board and the rules and all that jazz. And so what's different about this month is that I'm not going to be picking the books. Anika is. So I have mentioned Anika a couple times on my channel. She's a very dear friend of mine. I was supposed to go visit her this month, but you know, because of everything happening in the world, we can't do that. So instead, I have her on video chat, and she will pick out the books that I'm going to read this month, and I'll pick up the books that she needs to read this month. So the only thing that's changing is that I'm going to mix, or I have already mixed, the treasure cards as well as the pixie dust cards together, because I'm going to take some out. And that is things like most recent purchase, highest rated book, and Twitter pick, and these kind of things where they're like I don't get to choose, aka Anika wouldn't get to choose. I think that just needed some attention, so there we go. So I mixed those cards together, so no matter if I land on a treasure card or a pixie dust card, I will just go from the same thing. It's just so because there was almost no treasure cards left, but a lot of the pixie dust ones, I decided just to do that. And yeah, that is it for the rules. Oh, before we get into it, I need to tell you how I did with my March TBR. And this is the greatest one I've had so far. Just gonna start by saying that. So firstly, I had two things from February that got pushed over to March. And those were Self-Made Volume 1 and Crooked Kingdom Libradugo, which is the second and last book in the Grisha, not the Grishaverse, the Six of Crows duology. And I read both of these, so off to a great start. And then we had these 4 books plus a sprinkle of magic. There's 2 books out so far in the series, and I mixed the titles of them. I think it's A Pinch of Magic, and the second one is a Sprinkle of Sorcery. But I put the first one on my TBR for the animal on the cover prompt, and I ended up reading both of them. And then we had Kiranmala och Slangernes Hemlighet, which in English is called The Serpent's Secret. This was for the odd page number, and I read that. And then we had Red, White, and Royal Blue for the male protagonist, and I did not finish this. I read like 160, 170 pages, and then I decided to DNF it, which I still count as a win because it's no longer on my TBR. So that's good. And then we had Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Manscalco, the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. And I read this one. And then the 5th book was Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, and I did not read this one. Because the prompt for this, I forgot to say the prompt for this one. This was just historical fiction. But the prompt for Twilight was the Fuck My Life one. And Life has kind of done that without books being involved. And so I was just kind of like, no, it's like Life is enough on its own right now. I don't want to put myself through this. My sister and I actually listened to a bit of the audiobook, and I just couldn't. So that's the only book from March's TBR that I did not read. And if you're curious, I also did finish Radio Silence, which I mentioned that I was going to read. Wasn't a part of the actual game, but you know, in case you were interested. And so yeah, I count this as a win. I'm not going to push Twilight over. Like, I have read it before. This was going to be a reread. But I'm not about it, so I think I've said everything I need to. Yeah, let's get into the first roll and see what Anika will pick for me. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay. Are you ready, Anika?
Are you?
It's a little bit. Okay. There we go. Roll number 1. Is 2. Okay, which I don't know if you can see, but it's the roll. Showing the camera, showing you.
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. We're gonna roll and see which category. And the first one is, oh shit, I just kicked the This is going so great. Okay. It's 4, which is historical fiction. So we're starting off with a lovely roll A card, and we landed on 4, which is historical fiction. And the book that Anika chose for me is The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. And this is set in 1620, around there. And it's set in Norway. We're following the Norwegian witch trials that is based on like true events of history. So I'm excited. I know it's supposed to be like feminist, badass, and so that's all I really know. I also just love this cover. It has rosemaling, which is a traditional Norwegian style of painting, and I love that. And so I'm excited to read this. I don't actually know a whole bunch of like the Norwegian witch trials. This happened up north in Norway and I live down south. But I am very, very excited to read this. And what I chose for Anika was actually I was so conflicted that I did tell her I'm okay. Like she can choose between 2. One of them being this because I love buddy reads. I don't think I mentioned, but I did buddy read Radio Silence with her as well as the Red, White, and Royal Blue. So I want to continue that. So I said you can do that one if you want. But I also really want her to read Salt to the Sea by Rudis Petties. This is a historical fiction. Well, duh, because that's the prompt. But this is set during the Second World War, and we follow a group of people, like different perspectives. They're not all together. So there's 4 teenagers, 4 secrets. Like all of these 4 teenagers are from different like countries, and we just follow them. Some of them having to escape, some of them, you know. This was so good. So good. And she mentioned that she wanted to read it, so I was like, yes, do it. So I couldn't decide between the 2, so she's gonna get to decide herself. Roll number 2 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the card thing. And it's gonna be a book with sprayed edges.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to take it down to my bookshelf afterwards. Do you have any book with sprayed edges?
Sounds like a perfect date idea. What a great pickup line.
Yeah, I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Honestly, I think the only one with sprayed edges is Cricket Kingdom, and I want to cry. Well, I'm going to take you to my bookcase as well.
Okay. Alright, so we got our first card, and that is Sprayed Edges. And she chose one of the most beautiful books that I own, which is The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutkowski. Probably butchering that name. But this is a Fairloot exclusive book that I purchased, and it has these beautiful sprayed edges, and I'm stunned. And I did order this a long time ago, so I don't remember the synopsis. And I kind of like going into my books that way. So I just know that it's a YA fantasy. It has a LGBTQ plus romance. And it's about lies. The lies we tell others and the lies we tell ourselves. And I'm excited. Now, for the book that I chose for Anika, it's going to be Sherlock Holmes. She has this beautiful edition with sprayed edges. And I've been wanting to read Sherlock Holmes because I've watched like retellings of it. And I've never actually read any of the original works, so I want her to read it so that she can tell me if she thinks I'll like it. And so she's going to read the first one. I think it's just called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. It's like a book, and then it has like a couple of stories in it. And so that's what she needs to be reading this month. So 2 down, 3 to go. Roll number 3. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is another card, and this time it will be a 1-word title. That we can work with, I think. We got another card, and for this one it was a one-word title, and for this me and Anika actually chose the same book, so it's gonna be another buddy read, and that is Unwind by Neil Shusterman. I've owned this for a couple years and it sounds so fucked up, but I want to read it. It's basically this world where there has been a war, like another civil war, and I think it's set in America just from reading the synopsis and stuff. But they've had a Second World War about reproductive rights, and so abortion is illegal. When a baby is made, it has the right to live for 13 years. However, between the age of 13 and 18, the parents can have their kids unwound, which means that like it's basically a very late abortion, but they don't consider it like dying, like it doesn't consider it like ending a life, because all of the body parts is going to be used in other people, like it's called donors, yeah, it would go into different donors. And so I feel like, yeah, just that itself tells you how fucked up the story is going to be. But we follow 3 people. One of them, the parent, think it's like he's being too much to handle, I guess. And there is one who was born to be unwound, so basically like born just to be used as an organ donor. And then there is one who is not like talented enough to be kept alive. I'm so intrigued by this. It sounds so fucked up. I know it's a series, but I feel like with the world and everything now, if I read this, I can be like, yes, it's bad, but at least we're not doing this, you know? So I'm gonna be reading this. I'm also forcing Anika to be reading this. So I am excited, even though it's gonna be messed up. 5. I'm rolling so high this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the Neverland Plains, where you meet Tiger Lily, and it needs to be a book that has royalty in it. Some form of royalty. So I'm probably going to pick The Kiss of Deception for you.
Of course. Also, I just got the audiobook on from your library, so that's awesome.
I know.
Oh my god, I hate you.
I was like, yeah, she has to read it now. She got it. But I do have it on my reread, so. Alright, we landed on Neverland Plains for the first time. This is where you meet Tiger Lily, who is royalty, so you need to read a book featuring royalty. As soon as I landed on it, I was like, I know which book I'm choosing for Anika. And she ended up choosing the same one for me, which is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. I love this book so much. I have annotated it. I've read it a year and a half ago. Is it that long? A year ago? Yeah, I read this in February of 2019, so it's been a year. And I own the second book. I really wanted to read it, but I loved it so much I want to reread this first. And so I mentioned that, and so she said, well, let's buddy read it. And I'm so excited. I love this so much. And I was telling my boyfriend about it again yesterday, and he told me the full synopsis, and I was like, how do you remember that? It's so long since I read it. And he was like, because you spoke about this book every day for 3 weeks. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. So Max, I hope you're ready for another 3 weeks, because it's probably going to be the exact same. But in this book, we follow Princess Leia, I want to say, yeah. And so she is going to get, what is it called, married away? I feel like there is a word for that. Arranged marriage that is not really consented. I don't know. But yeah, it's her wedding day. She decides to run away. She's never met this prince that she's supposed to marry. She does not want it. So she and her best friend runs away. And then the prince that was supposed to marry her goes after her, as well as an assassin. And so you follow both her and the prince and the assassin, but you don't know who the prince is and you don't know who the assassin is. Now, a lot of people have said that that was very predictable. They could see like who was who. I did not. And because of my brain fog, I don't remember who's who. I'm excited to read this and be just as shocked this time. So, oh, I'm so excited. I'm also super excited to hear what Anika thinks of this, because we don't have like the exact same taste in books. I think it would be interesting to see if she loves it the way that I do or if she doesn't like it. But like, how can't you like this? Ugh. The fifth and last roll is 3. 1, 2, 3. It's another roll A thing. So let's see which category it will be. 7, which is a manga. I feel like I should roll again.
Yeah, I don't have any mangas.
Yeah, we took in what's called executive decision to do a reroll. Okay, first ever reroll. Oh my god. It's okay. 8 graphic novel. Do you have any graphic novels, or should we do another?
I don't, but I could pick some from the library and then read it on my tablet, because that would work for me. Yeah, let's put graphic novels. If you have enough,
I don't know, probably just like 20.
I don't know if that's enough, you know.
So we reached our last roll, and for the first time in Neverland history, we did a reroll, because we initially got the manga prompt, roll A, and then we landed on 7, which was manga. Now, Anika doesn't own any manga. I do own a fair bit, so I guess I could choose a manga. I will read a manga this month. I don't know which one, but I will. And then so we did a reroll and we landed on 8, and Anika doesn't really have a lot of graphic novels either, but we do have access to Libby, which is the online library system, and there's a lot of comic books there, so we decided that we're gonna stick to that one. And so the one that she chose for me to read, because if you didn't know, I have quite a collection of graphic novels, I love them, and so she chose Pretty Violent. This is by Derek Hunter, Jason Young, and Spencer Holt. And so this is volume 1. It just released in March, I want to say. I know I just recently got my pre-order, and the reason why I bought this is it sounds cool, but it also really reminds me of my favorite graphic novel series of all time, which is I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young. Go check it out if you haven't. And so she originally wanted me to reread that series because she knows that I love it. But then I told her about this one because I hadn't put it on my shelf yet, so she didn't even know I had it. Anyway, this is following a girl called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Gamma Ray? But she wants to be a superhero, and like she's born super strong. Like, you know, why wouldn't she become a superhero? Well, the only problem is that all of her siblings are hero-killing criminals. And yeah, just the like, what can I call it? Color palette? Wow. The color scheme, as well as the art, is just giving me like I Hate Fairyland vibes. So hopefully this is as good as I'm hoping for it to be. So that is gonna be my last thing that I need to read this month. Wow, words are hard. And then the graphic novel that I chose for Anika is Giant Days Volume 1. This is a series I think she's really gonna like. I enjoy it, I don't love it, but I feel like this is even more her taste. And we follow this group of people. There is 3 girls, 2 guys. Memory is hard. Words are hard, memory is hard, life is hard. But we follow these people that are going to university in the UK, and I think she can relate to a lot of them because she's been to university. Wow, university. Yeah, and it's a contemporary, and I put a lot of things that weren't contemporary on her TBR, so I feel like that will be really good to just read in between, maybe like after the fantasy, and it's just focusing mostly on friendship, being young, going to university. So I think she'll really enjoy it. I like this series, so that's gonna be what she needs to read. And then I have one book that I need to put on this TBR because I'm gonna read it. And then I have one that I might read that I haven't made my mind up about. But the one that I know I'm gonna read is Louise Penny's The Cruelest Month. This is the 3rd book in the Armand Gamache series. I always struggle with that name. And this is a very like cozy crime novel. We follow this detective and he goes to this city called Three Pines and there's a murder. That's the structure of this series, at least so far. This is book 3. I know there are like at least 14 books out so far, but don't let that intimidate you. You can definitely just read one at a time, or you know, even in any order, I'm pretty sure. But I started from the beginning. I liked the first one. I loved the second one. That was so good. I read it around Christmas because the plot of the book was set during Christmas. And so after I finished that and I looked up this one, and this is set during Easter, I was like, okay, I need to wait for Easter until I can read it because I want like that experience again. It was just so much fun reading about a time when you're in that time yourself. And so in this one, there is a villager that dies of fright, and they need to figure out, was it a murder? If it was, how was it, you know, committed? And oh, I just love this series. This series is for the people that like murder mysteries, but like with that kind of cozy feel, like not the bloodbath kind of thing. And if you like characters, if you like character-driven stories, there's a lot of focus on the characters, which in the first book is kind of hard because there's so many. But like in the second one, you know them, you love them. Mwah. I am so excited. I know I'm going to read this month because I've been just like looking at my calendar like, is it Easter yet? Because I want to read this. And then the possible book you might have guessed if you've watched any of my TBR videos, I usually put the middle grade monthly pick on my TBR. And I'm a little bit unsure about this month just because I haven't felt in the mood for it. So that's why like I'm just not sure if I want to read it. But it's called The Wizards of Wands by Cressida Cowell. I'll have the photo right here. And we follow a young wizard and a young warrior. And they have been taught to hate each other like poison. And then their worlds collide. I mean, it's fantasy, it's magic, it's adventure. It sounds really up my alley, and I do have access to the audiobook. But I'm just not sure like if I'm in the mood for it. So yeah, I have it like as a maybe. I might read it, I might not. Only time will tell. So that was it for this month. I will hold up my TBR if I can get it. Ooh, I am weak, if you did not know. So just to summarize, we have, but you know, like, comment, subscribe. I'll have my social media in the description. I'll have middle grade monthly in the description if you're interested in that. I'll have other people's TBR games in the description. I always put those at the bottom, you know, if you like this kind of content, then you might like those as well. And I'll have all of the books that I mentioned in the description. If you want to like read more synopsises, add them to your Goodreads TBR. You do you. If I've forgotten something, it will be linked in the description. So go check that out if there's anything else you feel like you should know. Then it's probably down there. So yeah, feel free to leave a comment. I know I'm terrible at answering them, but they honestly mean the world. Life is just still hard. My health is not really better, but I put on makeup today. And if you don't, you probably don't know, because why would you know? But this is the first time I've put on like makeup this year, and it's the end of March, so I'm having a good day. I'm taking advantage of it, and I'm rambling at this point, so you know, I'll see you in a month, maybe before. I might actually post another video. If you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button. If not, I will see you in a month. I hope you have a good day, and